McRae has hit 3 for 4. Jordan looking for the penetration, doesn't find it, so he fades and fires.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. I'm your host, Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to take a look at NBA players that really had a bad time playing against Michael Jordan. So guys that really got destroyed over their entire career playing against MJ. But before we dive into today's episode, I want to ask you guys for a small favor. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoy the content. Alright, enough said. Let's dive right into today's episode. The first player that was on Michael Jordan's victim list is Craig Ello. Playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference in the late 1980s to mid-1990s, Craig Ello often got the task to guard Michael Jordan. And even though Ello was not the most athletic guy, he was a solid defender. But for whatever reason, Michael Jordan would have some of his greatest performances against the Cleveland Cavaliers and, of course, Craig Ello. MJ almost averaged 34 points per game against Ello and also would have some of the craziest highlights that will last forever in every fan's memory.
Down to 7, it was 11. Here's Jordan in deep on Ello.
We've seen them all, Jimmy. We've seen them all.
And Craig Ello, who has scored 15 points here in the fourth quarter, has played big in the big period, the biggest of the season for the Cavaliers. Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago.
Another player that was on Michael Jordan's hit list was Dan Majerle. Thunder Dan was actually one of my favorite players in the early 1990s because he was a guy who could shoot from literally anywhere, but also give you 110% on defense. Playing for the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference, he did not have too many matchups against Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, but when they played against each other, Dan Majerle got tortured by MJ. If we take a look at the numbers, you would think that Jordan played against a scrub, but Dan Majerle was an NBA All-Star and really could hoop. But again, Michael Jordan just needed some extra motivation, and the rest is history.
I knew that Jerry Krause loved Dan Majerle, and just because Krause liked him was enough for me. You think he's a great defensive player? Okay, fine. I'm gonna show you that he's not.
Jordan spins away on Majerle. He'll take it all the way to the basket and drops it in.
I put it in my mindset that if I don't do this, then they're gonna consider him on the same level as me, and that motivated me to.
Rebounded by Michael Jordan. Now Frank Johnson, not the man that the Suns would have wanted to take that shot, and Jordan is able to go the distance.
Worst thing that could happen, let him score and use up very few precious seconds.
And the next player that I want to talk about is Brian Russell. With Russell, it's very interesting because he's actually one of the few guys who challenged Michael Jordan in terms of trash talking MJ. Something that is never a good idea, but some people just had to learn the hard way. Looking at the numbers, again, Jordan would dominate. And I'm pretty sure that most of you guys will remember the finals between the Chicago Bulls and the Utah Jazz, and this is exactly where Jordan showed Russell who's boss.
Yeah, Brian Russell. When I was playing baseball, Utah's in town to play the Bulls. They're practicing at the facility. I go over to say hello to John and Carl. And this kid, Brian Russell, comes up to me and said, "Man, why you quit? Why you quit? Man, you knew I could guard your ass. I couldn't, you had to quit." I said, "Carl, you need to talk to this dude, man." Nah, he's just a young rookie. But from that point on, he's been on my list.
Pull against Russell, 12 seconds, 11, 10. Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, yes! We're down to 5. Jordan putting moves on Russell. We're down to 2, now to 1. Here's Jordan. Yes! It is all over. The Chicago Bulls have won at
And the next player on my list, or let's say Michael Jordan's list, was Clyde the Glide Drexler. Clyde never talked trash to MJ, and Clyde never provoked Michael Jordan in any way. But in the early 1990s, many people considered Clyde Drexler to be as good as MJ, which at that time was not far-fetched. Drexler was a great scorer, he was a spectacular player, had many highlights, and his team, the Portland Trail Blazers, were always in the race of winning an NBA championship. But then there was the 1992 NBA Finals, the Chicago Bulls versus the Portland Trail Blazers, and MJ finally had the chance to show the difference between him and Clyde.
Clyde the Glide says we're the two best in the game, but I'm not getting into a war of words with Mike.
Clyde was a threat. You know, I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
I'm working for NBC. I'm covering the finals. So the night before game one, we were at Michael's house playing cards, and he said, you know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I'm gonna give it to this dude.
Michael sideline, he runs right by him, stops, fires, kaboom! Jordan eluding Robinson. Yes! Jordan posting up, goes to the fadeaway, through the fire.
I was in a groove, I was in a rhythm that I can't really explain.
Blazers get back, Pippen back for Jordan for three.
I started hitting threes like they were free throws.
Here's Pippen, setting up Jordan, wide open, again!
The rim seems like a big old huge bucket.
Back to Michael. Steps and fires a three. Another one. This guy's unbelievable.
And I can't miss it.
Come Michael, three again. Woo!
Stolen by Pippen. 2 men to beat. Right to the basket. Stolen Michael Jordan. Jordan with his magic carpet threw it down. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. This place is pandemonium. Grant for the rebound out of Paxton. And a Jordan fires another three. Oh no! I don't believe it. 3-pointers from Jordan. What in the world is going on?
There's Jordan for three. Yes! Did you see that look? Michael indicating he can't believe it.
After a while, I just looked at Marv and Magic and those guys. What can I say? I mean, it's not me. It's just a moment.
This is the greatest performance, maybe ever, in the history of this league.
Next on my list, I have Jeff Van Gundy. Now for the first time, I have a head coach on Jordan's hit list. Jeff Van Gundy did the ultimate no-no. He insulted Michael Jordan over the press and would soon pay the ultimate price.
His way is to befriend them, to soften them up, make them feel like he cares about them, and then he goes out there and physically tries to destroy them.
Michael Jordan is always on the lookout for extra motivation. In January, Jeff Van Gundy did just that. An NBA season-high 51 points left Van Gundy and the Knicks speechless.
Mr. Van Gundy has a Jordan headache right now.
Did you take it personally when Van Gundy called you a con man?
Yes. It rubbed me the wrong way then, and if I hear it now, it still rubs me the wrong way because that was never my intent.
Now, while we're talking about the New York Knicks, let's talk about Jon Starks. Jon Starks was a great defender, a great hustle player, a guy who would literally do whatever it takes to win a basketball game. And playing against Michael Jordan, you could see that he was really giving all he had. In some games, Starks would do a pretty good job, but in other games, Jordan would play with Starks like little girls play with Barbie dolls. When Jordan would go off, he would embarrass Starks, especially in the Madison Square Garden. The best example would be in 1995 when Jordan had his first comeback and had only played a handful of games before he returned to New York and would put on a show for the ages.
Michael Jordan has the jump shot falling here tonight.
That first quarter, I knew we had something going. When I started hitting all the jump shots, and I could read Starks' every move. You know, I basically had him at my disposal in a sense.
We're going to keep going to the well with Jordan and Starks. My, oh my. It was like Starks wasn't even there.
And he continued his onslaught from just about everywhere on the court.
Jordan off the turnover. Puts the move on Starks. Yes, and it counts. Michael Jordan with his most spectacular basket.
Alright, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.